God, I can't believe I'm telling this story on the internet. Jesus. I should just stop. I'm too far in now. Okay. Yes. Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you guys to another edition of the Jamal and Joe show. And I'm glad you guys are here. We're here to have a little fun, tell a little truth. And I want to send a special shout out to all of our new viewers. We picked up a bunch of viewers over the weekend over the Christmas holiday. I had to get some things off my mind. I did a quick little promo, and a bunch of people hit me up and said, hey, they're interested in listening. So, Joe, we got, a handful of new people in watching the podcast when this airs later on this week. So want to welcome those folks in. And for those of you who've never seen the podcast before, Joe and I talk about a lot of different things. So just get ready to mix it up and get in there tonight. You ready?
Always. And for sure, welcome to anybody new, however you find us. It's just one day at a time.
It sure is, man. It sure is. And there's never a lack of things going on to talk about.
Well, and I mean, we've got like lists of things. Like I've tried to be organized, use my phone as the Lord intended, and and to be more efficient and all these good things. Yet, I mean, and maybe this is just a testament to, how nice it is chatting, because, we go off on lots of other different topics, and my list keeps growing with things to talk about. We just don't quite ever get to.
Yeah, so, I know, right?
With all that said, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to lead the way with other than, Christmas this is and mic checks. But outside of that, what else is going on? Did you get everything you were hoping for? Was the mic it? Did everybody else get what they wanted?
The household is pretty happy. Everybody got pretty much what they wanted, and health is probably the most important thing, at least to me. Everybody's healthy. Sure. Christmas was good in the household. I mean, it was good. Wife, kids, everybody had a good time. Yours?
It was the same. It was pretty low key. I mean, tons of gifts like always. So that part, felt normal.
Yeah.
We were not a part of the overall family festivities. We opted out of those.
As most people did. So
yeah, and so no, I mean, it was good, and it's always nice to have kind of time off work, although it's weird. It seems like no matter when I take a few extra days off, no matter what time of year, I will always, like when I would otherwise not be busy at all, it will suddenly be busy. And so thank goodness I have my phone to be able to deal with that. Otherwise I wouldn't, Yeah. But I guess that's kind of part of the new, the office is home and the home is the office. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do pretty much everything from my phone that I can from my laptop. So, it is pretty convenient.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended last week. So, over the course of this week, I got on and I did a little got some stuff off my chest, and I riled up a few people.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for, by the way, thank you for being a part of Facebook so that I don't have to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So good job with that. Well done.
Yeah.
And did you get reaction?
Oh, I got lots of reaction.
Okay.
So I on Facebook, I like to play it straight. I haven't really ever posted a whole lot of political stuff on Facebook, just because it's Facebook and you can't really have a legitimate discussion on Facebook. It always melts down into some type of argument. So I try to stay away from political things on Facebook, but I just had to. Everybody knows that
So that was kind of a big moment for you to kind of lay into it that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think everybody that knows me knows that I have volunteered on every presidential campaign going back to Al Gore.
Nice.
You know, I'm a Democrat. You know, it is what it is.
You don't hide that.
No, I don't deny that. But then again, I don't go around like putting up a flag on my car with the name of my candidate. But I practice what I preach, and I volunteer. I make phone calls. Pre-COVID, I knocked on doors. I went out and spoke to people on behalf of candidates. You know, like people always say, you know, they're going to do X, Y, and Z. I actually do it. But on Facebook, you know, I try to keep it pretty civil. But I just had to this week because I don't have a whole lot of respect for our current president for a lot of different reasons. Going back to before he was even president, when he was just a, you know, scummy billionaire in New York City, didn't have a lot of respect for him for some of the housing practices and the things that he did back then. But then this week when the COVID bill came out and, the Senate and the House passed the $900 billion COVID bill. Mm-hmm. And, then I saw the headline come across on a couple of different news services that he was going to veto it. I'm like, here we go. What's this guy saying now? And then he says, it's not enough money. Mm-hmm. It should be $2,000.
Bouncing back and forth, right?
Yeah. $2,000 per individual and $4,000 per couple. And I'm like, time out. Hold on a second. All of my friends that are Republicans have been talking all this mess for 4 years about the Democrats are going to increase deficit spending and the Democrats are going to, spend our great-great-grandchildren's money and X, Y, and Z. So here's this guy who claims to be the super Republican and the savior of the Republican Party, and he wants to increase the deficit threefold from anything that Bernie Sanders wanted to do. And there's all these people out there who have been just bootlickers, right? And I know bootlickers is a very derogatory term, and I use it on purpose because of the political connotations of the word bootlicker. Mm. And anything Donald Trump says, they parrot it. Donald Trump, Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, this and that. If he says it, it's just as good as gospel. So I wanted to know from these people, you've been saying all this time that you want lower spending, you want less this, less that. And here's your guy, your number one guy saying, nope, $600 not enough. It's supposed to be $2,000. But I wanted to see if they were going to fall in line with what he said and go against every principle they've been preaching for 4 years.
They have up till now. Why would this stop them?
I just wanted to see.
No, I mean, all I'm saying is like, why is this suddenly the big line that they're going to cross or not cross, or that, and honestly, what was it about this that made you go, oh my gosh, this is where my Republicans are finally seeing the hypocrisy of their ways. Not up till now of all the other amazing.
No. Crazy because shit. Two things. He's on his way out. He is on his way out, regardless of what he thinks. He's on his way out. And there are some people in the House and Senate who are claimed to be fiscal conservatives.
Oh man, the budget's going to matter a whole bunch here in like a few weeks.
Oh, because
we're writing checks for trillions that nobody gave two sniffs about.
Right.
Nobody cared at all. Not one word. I mean, it was just like the best thing ever of like just trillions gone and just given to what was it, to airlines, to the cruise ships, to, I assume you just give banks money because that always happens.
Right.
I mean, the numbers were just astronomical, and it was all, oh, well, it's COVID relief, amazing time. And so this just has to be done. And it's like, well, what are we getting out of this? Like zip.
Right.
But all these, I mean, these same Republican folks were right on board with all of that. So
here's the thing. Now,
in a few weeks, suddenly, oh my God, did you know that there's a deficit?
Oh yeah. That's exactly what I was gonna say. The minute that Joe Biden comes up with something, whoa, where are you getting this money? Where are you gonna spend it?
But honestly, that's the same mentality that I've been frustrated with a lot of folks that I talk to when they're constantly pissing and moaning about their taxes. First, there's a few points that I'm frustrated with, because point one, would you like to know the things I don't like my tax money going for? I'm not currently pissing and moaning about it, but I have a list if you want to know it.
Right.
As I assume everybody does, but we just shut up and we pay our taxes. But it only seems like the folks with like a ton of money who by percentage pay the least amount are bitching the most about how,
Right.
all the, I can't believe all the welfare and the subsidies. And I'm like, well, first of all, if you got a problem with welfare, then you should have a problem with all the farmers that, first of all, aren't even farmers hardly anymore, but whatever, we'll get beyond that. I mean, there's a lot of corporate subsidy out there, but they seem to be okay with that. But somebody getting a food stamp is suddenly, that's
Right.
anti-Jesus, don't you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the funny thing. So you've got AOC, Nancy Pelosi, and Donald Trump all singing out of the same old hymn book right now. And I know some people are losing their minds because AOC and Bernie Sanders probably on the right side of history on this one, right? I don't agree with everything they say, but on this one, they're probably on the right side of history. And surprisingly enough, Donald Trump is probably on the right side of history. Now, here's the deal. I don't think he's doing it to be altruistic. I think he's doing it because he's on the way out the door and he's going to be able to say, hey, I tried to give you guys $2,000 each. And it's those guys in Congress who said, no, I wanted to do it. I told them to do it and they wouldn't do it. Now, here's the thing. If you are a Republican member of Congress, House or Senate, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Because if you vote for this and give everybody $2,000, you are forfeiting your right to say anything to Joe Biden about any kind of deficit spending, because your guy is saying, load up the truck with money, print money, whatever you want to do right now. And if you vote no, you're crossing the almighty Donald Trump, and oh my God, his 50 million plus Twitter followers are going to come and burn your house down.
I mean, I don't know. To me, they've given up on consistency of thought and behavior a long time ago. And that's one of the big, kind of the big buy-ins that you got to do as a follower is, if you buy the bullshit, then you're double in on board. You're like, okay, it's pretty painful obvious that there's not consistency of thought and action, where you say it's okay to spend gazillions of bucks and give this away, but it's not okay to do it now. And so I don't know. I just don't think that appealing to again, if they're this far down the road, I don't think they're ever coming back,
Right.
I don't know. I guess that kind of goes against my whole idea that if it weren't for the constant amount of energy and resources to divide everybody right now, that we would be pretty darn united. Like I, remember naively as a kid. But like, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there wasn't, just this machine to broadcast, whatever.
So speaking of the machine, so I've spent like all last week, like reading Fox News, because I wanted to see how they were going to spin it. So the way they're spinning it on Fox News is Donald Trump is trying to get money in the hands of individuals and small businesses and take it away from the other countries that we were originally trying to give this money to.
Oh, is that like Brexit then? I mean,
essentially, yeah. I mean, it's so funny because
it's funny.
Here's the deal. Bernie Sanders
works really well.
Bernie Sanders said this same thing 3 months ago about a $2,000 payment. I mean, it's almost the same thing Bernie Sanders said 2 months ago, and
But
Fox News went crazy.
There's no consistency of thought. They just don't care. And they don't care if they're complete hypocrites. I mean, they just don't care. They don't care. So I don't know. I mean, as far as like the actual bill itself, I mean, I know dude's golfing, I think. So I'm not sure when the big decision gets made, but
well, he said he's going to veto it. He hasn't vetoed it yet. He vetoed the defense bill that we talked about last week.
Okay.
Because a couple different line items he didn't like. But that actually surprised me also, because he's supposed to be Mr. Big Defense, blah, blah, blah. So that defense bill is up. And also people's unemployment benefits are going to run out here in a couple of days.
Yeah, that was today, I believe.
And was that today?
Yeah, I believe it was today. So, and then they're anticipating, again, it just seems like it's this burn the house down on the way out the door.
Yeah.
And leave just the biggest pile of rubbling poo for Biden to have to deal with. And then just the moment that not everything is fixed, just start the bitch campaign, continue it. And cash in.
Yep.
I mean, they're already milking pools for the next run. So regardless of whether or not he actually does it, it doesn't matter. It's just
it doesn't matter. No.
Sending my money. I don't know. I mean, like I said, people are super on board. So I don't know. And like I said, I mean, this utter sabotaging, even like of the defense bill, I mean, that is in a way kind of hurting our, I guess, a Fox viewer might get more animated and say that's harming national security.
Hyperbole? No.
I mean, I can only imagine our true patriot like Oliver North, worrying about something like that. And there you go. Here's a good example.
Yes. Enlighten me.
Folks look at that guy as like some kind of hero. And I mean, even I'm old enough to know that guy's a fucking traitor. And I mean, we were old enough. We were right there when all that was going on. But I don't understand the folks that worship that guy are even older than us. I mean, that was in their prime time.
Right.
How is that not? I mean, so anyhow, I don't know.
So we can transition from politics for a second.
No,
I did throw out a tease last week. I don't know if you wanted to go to that.
Well, the one half political thing the bombing of Nashville.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
That's kind of weird. It feels like that alone could be, many shows, because it seems like there's a lot going on there. I don't know how familiar you are with the story at all. But...
So, the conspiracy theorists have been all over this. So I've read a little bit about it. And so basically this is what I know, and correct me from where I might skirt off the road of truth, if so. So RV parked in front of a historic building, which may or may not have been an AT&T building. And person inside is rumored to have had a grudge against AT&T or somebody in that building. High-powered explosives, set off some gunshots to draw interest in the RV, and then had a recording playing, counting down 15 or so minutes, warning everybody to get away. And the theory is he or she was trying to inflict property damage and not bodily damage. Is that kind of it in a nutshell, kind of high level 30,000 foot view?
Nice. Well, Captain, yes, other than you, the part where you said the person inside, did they find? I heard they said it remains. Did they find a body inside?
They found
parts,
remains. They didn't say
bits
if
and
it was
pieces?
inside or outside, but one of the news sites I saw said they were not looking for a suspect, which leads me to believe that they have found the suspect or he is deceased.
Right.
No, that's not confirmed as of, airtime right now.
It seems. Again, that's your summation. There was as much as I know.
Right.
And anything more than that is just
speculation,
guessing. Which I'm sure there's lots of folks doing lots of that.
Oh man. So since we've been doing this show, I've kind of ventured into some really dark parts of the internet doing research. And there's a lot of kooks out there. I mean, people think Alex Jones is a kook. People think Alex Jones is a kook. He's just a well-known kook. There are some other people with some really darker ideas than Alex Jones, which seems crazy. And those folks are all over this. I mean, there's deep. I mean, they they've spun some tales on this one, my friend.
I mean, and I mean, I've heard everything. The first reactions were, "Oh, meth lab gone wrong," but
Right.
Obviously the whole countdown thing, kind of that part makes all of this stand out as like a whole big, what the heck. So, yeah, I don't know, pretty interesting, weird stuff. I there's so much there as far as, like I said, the location, whether or not it was on like the hub of some big communications pipeline, the internet tubes, I don't know what. But I read that theory idea, that it was a possible way to attack, communications and or power grid for a large portion of the country.
Right.
So that's one idea, and there's a whole bunch of others. But you got to think, I mean, if it's caused property damage, I mean, yes, it did, obviously. But at the same time, if you were really trying to, I don't know, it seems like, wouldn't you like park under a building or like right up next to it? Or, you know what I mean? Because I mean, like the video, like again, the video I've seen, I mean, it's an older, meth looking RV that you would normally I would normally associate it with some broken down piece of crap on the side of the road that people have been living out of for months, if not years.
Right.
But yet this one looked in kind of well shape, I guess. I don't know. I can't really say that. It looked like an RV, and its lights were on in the picture I saw. And then, there was like the audio of the recording, which was, I believe, a female voice.
It was a female voice. It was, if you can hear my voice.
But I mean, that could be easily automated,
computer generated. Yeah, that's
and that could be done remotely,
completely
cheesy. So yeah, and that nobody, or maybe nobody, was hurt. I mean, that there was remains. So obviously somebody got it. I don't know. Like I say, I mean, I was curious what your thought was for such a weird thing happening on Christmas Day. I don't know the area at all. I'm not from Nashville. I've never been there. But I assume that because it happened early in the morning, right? Like 6:30.
It was like 6 in the morning. Yeah.
Right. But I assume that more people would have been around later in the day.
Right.
In a way, I mean, but it was residential, right? Because people had to wake up and leave. So
it was residential.
I don't know.
So they're saying now, I'm just looking at something on the interwebs, that suicide bombings. Whoa. Okay, that was creepy. Could you hear that?
I could kind of hear some weird thing. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I clicked on it. Was playing the video. It was evacuate now. If you can hear this message, evacuate now.
Oh yeah, I know that was the okay.
But they were saying that they think it was a suicide bomber, and it'll be interesting in the days and weeks to come, because right now, somebody's like going through this dude's underwear drawer as we speak, and they've torn apart every computer he's ever owned and talked to his third grade teacher, and they're building a case on somebody right now.
But so that's confirming that, I mean, it's the dead dude inside was the bad guy setting off the bomb.
That's essentially what they're saying without saying it.
That's still weird.
It is.
I mean, that's still weird. I mean, again, if it was the whole disgruntled
employee or something,
like you said, disgruntled employee of whatever, AT&T.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess. And that was his whole way of hurting AT&T. All right, good job. Good job. Let me check. Is AT&T still there?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's weird stuff. But that was my 2 cents for the half hour.
Yeah, let me see here. I want to look at one.
Are you researching it?
I just wanted to see, like, I don't know, man.
No, I mean, I'll keep going while you're doing something.
No, I'm good. I just wanted to turn off the volume. So I'm looking at a picture right now that they are searching this dude's home. Okay. They've got all the SWAT units out. They're searching this guy's home. Apparently, he lived in Antioch, Texas. And all right, so here we go.
Antioch, Texas.
I'm sorry, Antioch, Tennessee. I've never been there.
Oh, okay.
I've been to Nashville a couple of times, but
I drove through it. I might have been through Nashville. I don't know. I drove through a lot.
So this is saying that AT&T on Saturday continued working to restore outages that were caused by the Christmas Day RV explosion near a transmission building in Nashville that disrupted service in the region. So that goes to what you were saying.
I mean, okay, cool. Good job, guy. I mean, you made some people lose the internet for a few hours or a day. I mean, right. You really stuck it to them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
All right, well,
I'm sure there's a manifesto or a note or something somewhere that we're going to see, and people are going to speculate whether it's real or not. I mean, we'll see.
For sure, people will be like, "Oh, that's just a patsy. This was some amazing, I don't know what," but it just, I mean, what a weird thing. So yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I hate to just speculate on something completely, but what else is there to do?
Right. We're locked in our house.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're here for, is wild speculation. Because like the other thing, like, if it was a timer kind of a thing, was it, somebody, was it set to go off like at 6:30 p.m. and you go, man, I mean, that's a lot of effort to go through. And don't get me wrong. I mean, they screwed up stuff launching rockets into space and forgot to freaking tighten a bolt. So what do you do? But so he was a local person that took, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, at most he did some damage to some AT&T building, but he obviously didn't want to hurt anybody.
Right. That's the speculation, is that's why he did it in the morning and he had a countdown to get people to move away, that it was just property damage. I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
or as maybe has been suggested, that, you ever watch Die Hard's movies?
Oh, you know what? You are
uh-oh, what do you got? I need my glasses.
No, I was fixing my background here. You are going to, when you talk about Die Hard, you're getting into one of the buy and sells I had later on. But go ahead. I've seen Die Hard.
See, that's my precognition. I'm like Tom Cruise in that movie.
Yes.
Minority.
Because Die Hard is going to be number one when we get to buy and sell.
Nice. Well, anyway, in Die Hard
3
with Sam Jackson.
Yes.
Right? Which arguably best Die Hard. I mean, I'm just saying. One of my personal favorites. But in that movie, there's a whole scene going on, or the whole plot of the movie is that the Germans, or some kind of accent,
some Eastern European.
well-dressed European fellows,
Yes.
that knock off the vaults of Wall Street, because Wall Street has vaults,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's gold in our hills. But the whole idea was that they create a huge distraction, bomb, and they bombed the subways, which is terrible, and I'm glad this fellow did not. I'm just saying distraction, for a bigger event elsewhere, perhaps. Because there's the famous line in it is that this kid is running by with like a whole handful of candy, and diehard guy, goes, "Hey, can we stealing?" He's like, "There's no cops around here. You could steal City Hall."
Right.
And they're like, "Oh, Bush."
Yeah.
And then so suddenly the kid breaks it all, that
busted wide open.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, that's all far-fetched and pure speculation. What is more likely, it sounds like, is that it was disgruntled AT&T dude that decided to go kablooey in front of his old building, which, I mean, I don't know, people off themselves in their workplaces or because of their work often enough. This guy just did it in spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
All right. So maximum effort.
I guess so, man. I think by the time we talk next week, we'll know a lot more, and we'll probably have a name and a backstory. And I mean, these things follow, right? So the first thing is, like, remember the Las Vegas shooter and all these other things. So something happens, and then we get this footage of like 40 armored trucks around an empty apartment, and they're going in guns a-blazing when they know nobody's in there, right? So we see that just to kind of get her the mind. Yeah. And then they come out just boxes and boxes of stuff. Like if the FBI came and raided my house now, like they couldn't get boxes of anything because you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? They come out carrying like 20 boxes of stuff. And it's like, think about it. Think about every time this has happened and you see the footage. It's like these dudes just keep coming out carrying boxes of stuff, right? So we'll see that. We'll see them come out carrying boxes of stuff. Then something will leak and it'll be on CNN or Fox or MSN or whatever it is of the guy's name, and they'll have some grainy driver's license photo or like some cropped photo of him and like his coworker, and he's wearing like a button down like light blue shirt and some wire rim glasses. And then later, you'll get like somebody saying, "Oh, I knew him," and it's unofficial. I mean, it's gonna follow the same pattern that these all follow.
That's the part where I might wish to wager in that because such effort was made to not hurt anybody, and usually in these incidents, which are usually there's lots of fatalities, so
right.
I guess, that's kind of the outrage is the fatalities, but dude, this is a big ass bomb. I mean, you can't just go around doing that shit.
Yeah.
But one of the first questions that starts erupting on the interwebs is what political allegiances do this person have?
Absolutely.
And of course, that must completely prove everything I think about whatever it is I think.
No. The first thing is going to be, was he black or white? Then it's going to be what political party.
But that question, the black or white question, gets answered is whether or not he's alive or dead.
True. Okay, fair.
Yeah. So and I mean, and this one, he blew himself up. So you're like, that one makes you go automatically, that's a white guy. I mean, I don't know. But I think, I mean, obviously the speculation will be huge. Whatever boxes of stuff they bring out of dude's house. But the one thing, like you mentioned that Vegas shooter thing. I mean, goddamn, it's crazy because like we remember, like Columbine. I mean, that name stuck with us. Obviously, that was kind of one of the first big ones.
Springfield, dude, right down the road from where we lived.
I know for sure. Sandy Hook and all. all horrible, nasty, of course, just to the moon,
Yeah.
horrible, right? This fool in Vegas, like, overshadowed, like, not overshadowed that, but dude, I mean,
Yeah, he
yeah, I
he
mean
went
that,
for it.
and so, and I just, it seemed like for such an amazingly horrible, huge event, I mean, that seemed to be almost on par with F and 9/11. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
and yet our entire country changed because of 9/11, but not a damn thing changed because of whoever that guy was. And
No, you're right.
you know
No,
what I
you're
mean?
right about that. Yeah.
I don't know. I just, for such, I mean, that was a tremendously horrible event. Like I said, I mean, I don't know what the body count was, but at the same time, I mean, what he was aiming at was 9/11 figures. I
Yeah.
mean, so
Oh, he was he was ready to go for a while.
yeah. So I don't know. That one just seems to be. I don't want to say it's forgotten, but like all these other events, maybe it's because they were more kids focused versus,
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, not that that made that big of an impact, to the point where anything changed. I mean, other than, oh, cool, my kid gets to do combat drills in freaking kindergarten.
Right.
And learn how to hide from the shooter bad guy.
Yeah.
I only had to worry about like the smoke alarm drill, Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Kids are doing active shooter drills now. But I mean, you're right. I think that echoes something that I've said a while ago. Like, I believe in all 10 amendments, including the Second Amendment, but I think there's too many just random guns on the street, like flat out. I don't want to take away anybody's gun. I don't want to restrict anybody from having a gun, but that does
I don't
not
know.
mean
I kind of do.
see. I don't.
There's
I'm not trying to take away. Here's the deal. Here's my point. I'm not trying to take away anybody's gun, but I think there's too many random guns on the streets in hands of people who don't need them.
fine. Agreed. And then I'll go ahead and say that there's folks that have guns now that shouldn't have them. Just like there's folks that have driver's licenses that shouldn't have them.
True.
And that's the thing. You got to go get a license to drive a car. My America gets to allow this arsenal.
Now you're getting somewhere.
Are you kidding? I mean, exactly what training does Johnny Jughead have? Oh, my America ball sack. So I have every armament known to man, and there should never be an infringement upon that because I have a rattlesnake flag. And I mean, God, I want to. It's frustrating for people to wrap themselves in that kind of ignorance, and then for that to be allowed, and to be cheered on, and not just cheered on, but then obviously sold billions of dollars of ammo to, and armament, because what an industry. And you sure wouldn't want to regulate that at all.
Well, here's the thing. I don't understand, if people are responsible gun owners, which they claim to be, why you wouldn't want someone to have a license and training in order to have a firearm. Here's the deal. I'm not trying to take away your gun. I just want to make sure people who have it know how to use it.
And by the way, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
But Lord and Savior Trump, I mean, you could probably dig up the clip where he talked about taking everybody's guns.
He did.
Like on camera.
He did.
He's like, I don't need to wait for, just take them.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Again, I mean, I know the list is long of if Obama had said it.
Oh my God. People would have been marching in the streets if Obama had said
I mean, but again, it just gets complete pass. And so, like you were talking about earlier, like, how will Republicans reconcile their conscience with, a spending? Fuck, man. I mean, they just don't give a shit. They just don't give a shit. They don't care if they're blatantly Hippocratic. They don't care. Did they win? Or more importantly, did you lose?
Mm-hmm.
That's all they give a shit about.
Mm-hmm.
Are you losing as much as they are? Hopefully more, because then they can look down on you. And you know, that's what gets played to where, uh, 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 I mean, we're that where you can get a broke ass person to look down on somebody else.
Yeah.
Man, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
talk about a
Yeah.
self-esteem boost.
Yeah, exactly.
That, you
And
know,
see where I'm coming from. And I don't know, man. Maybe I'm Pollyanna and I'm altruistic. I don't know what you want to call it. But I'm hoping over these next 4 years, we can come together as a country. Because at the end of the day, there are some people who don't live between the Atlantic and the Pacific and Mexico and Canada who don't live in that little box that want to hurt us. And they want to hurt us bad. And they like nothing more than to see people within my state and your state, this state and that state fighting each other, because it only weakens us as a country. It
no,
only
for
weakens
sure.
us as a people. And we have to find a way to come together. We got to find a way to put aside all this Democrat and Republican and Independent and Tea Party and Proud Boy and Antifa. We got to figure out a way to put all this. We can have our own individual thoughts and actions and feelings, but at the same time, we got to find a way to come together, because if we don't, Russia and China are going to pick us apart like we are birdseed on the road.
Agreed. And because I mean, I think the whole play, like you mentioned, I mean, burn the shitter down now, run the hell away, continue to, you know, make noise and milk your audience, and just how successful he'll be. I mean, allegedly, you know, the big Twitter ban. How Twitter is allegedly going to ban him after he is not president anymore.
Heard that.
So that seems kind of important. And you're like, well, then why wouldn't you just ban him now? If it's so important to do so, then just do it now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he's so dangerous, then go ahead and do it now. But fine, if you're going to actually do that after the fact, or after, you know, he's no longer president. And, you know, I mean, if that's what's going to deplatform Trump and suddenly he's no longer a threat to all of human society, first of all, then I don't know, Twitter has maybe a little bit too big of a swing in the world. Maybe not. I don't know. That's amazing to be able to swing that kind of power. But I did, you know, how effective he'll be with his fans to keep being disruptive after he's gone from the White House, as far as gone. Because his whole, I mean, his only angle that he has is just to continue to rally his base, his core supporters. But is that just going to continue to shrink? You know, I mean, I sure as heck don't see their flags waving quite as high anywhere around.
True. Like I told you before, I think that's going to depend on how Biden does. If Biden comes out first 100, 200 days with some wins and some successes, and more importantly, some wins that
I mean, they're doing so hard to torpedo him before he's even getting a chance.
Oh, I saw a meme the other day that people are blaming Biden for stuff, and the meme was like, this dude hasn't even clocked in yet. I think I sent that to you. Like, he hasn't even clocked in, and they're blaming him. But no, I think if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris come out with some policies and they get some things through Congress, that's a win for the country, not just this side or that side. That's going to show that, hey, okay, this guy that was here.
So
before,
what policies are going to be considered a win?
I think if they can effectively get this vaccine through, and we start to see the numbers go down, and we start to see things open back up, and things get back to quote unquote normal, whatever the new normal is going to look like. But I think if he's able to navigate through the waters of the vaccine and get the vaccine into the hands of the people that want it, and subsequently open up the economy a little more, I think that will be huge because that's going to affect everybody, all segments of the population. And then I think he can get to some of the things that I think you think are important, the environment, electric cars, because we can say, hey, we've had this goes exactly to what you've been saying all along. So hear me out for a second. We get this vaccine out, we get these virus numbers down, people stop getting sick, people stop dying. The people who don't want to get the vaccine, that's on them. I'm not here to judge vaxxers or anti-vaxxers. People get the vaccine. You know, we can get there, but hold on. I want to.
I mean, the whole thing kind of, but it's not like it's irrelevant because I mean, if not everybody participates, then the vaccine ain't as effective, and then it kind of defeats the whole purpose, don't it?
But at the same time, then Mr. Darwin kicks in, because if you don't get the vaccine and you get the disease and you die, then you're gone. You know, and if I get the vaccine,
but the whole idea is that enough people get it, that the whole herd immunity, that's the actual herd immunity idea, not just everybody gets sick and a bunch of people die.
No, I get that.
That you have to achieve, like, it's like 90-something% of the population needs to get it.
They've been going back and forth on that number. I've heard anywhere from 75 to 90. And I don't know if they really even know, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I guess, you know, that's, you know, how optional did they make, like, you know, polio vaccines back in the day? I guess follow that trend. Whatever we did then, let's do that now.
I don't think we had anti-vaxxers back then, though. Or they weren't as vocal back then.
Well, they didn't have the internet. So again, true. You know, there's your problem.
Yeah. So here's my point.
Yep.
If he's able to help shepherd the country through the navigation of the vaccine, and those that want to get vaccinated, the economy starts to open up, then you can have an honest conversation with the American public and say, the economy has been crippled for 18 months. What we have realized is that fossil fuels and these other things are not the way to go. We've known this for a long time, but now that we're about to rebuild our entire economy, let's rebuild our entire economy smartly, with clean fuel, with clean coal, if it comes down to that, electric. You know, let's look at the things that are going to push us forward into the 21st century, and let's leave all the old stuff dead where it is. Because basically we've shut it all down right now. Everything is shut down. Let's open it back up smartly, right? Whether it's the Green New Deal, whether it's something else, let's make sure we bring it back the right way instead of just going back to what we were doing before, because we're coming into a realm of a new normal. So let's make electronic cars a priority. Let's make solar panels a priority. Let's make recycling world or countrywide a priority with a bottle bill like certain states have. You know, let's do these things now. Let's open up the economy and open up the government now in a way that's sustainable for 150 years, not going back to just turning on a coal plant the way we had done before.
Which, for sure, I guess the points that come to mind, I mean, one, that there's already a mutation of this thing that is assumedly here. So I don't know what impact that's going to have on all of this.
The variant that they found in the UK and France.
And now in Canada. So of course it's here. It's obviously here. What effect will that have on any of this? You know, does that push the vaccine back even further? I mean, the rollout already has been subpar, you could say. I mean, they didn't buy enough doses to begin with, and now they're trying to play catch up and probably selling them to the highest bidder, I assume.
I know several people who've gotten the vaccine here in my local area. A few of my friends are in the healthcare industry, and they've gotten the vaccine. They've only gotten the first dose.
Right. And then you got to go back however many weeks later.
They got to go back in 3 or 4 weeks to get it, but no side effects or anything. They feel fine.
Right.
You know, and hopefully it works. Everything that I've seen about that variant is that it's just that it's a variant, and that the vaccine is still effective against the variant and up to 3 or 4 other potential strains of the virus. They've kind of predicted that based on the flu shot and some other things that it kind of mutates. Obviously, you can't predict how it's going to mutate, but apparently, from what I've read, it's kind of an umbrella vaccine or whatever they called it, that it's supposed to cover several different variants.
Well, that'll be handy. So, let's just even go half best case scenario that you give whatever they talk about, like the first 100 days. However riled up the outgoing president gets everybody, however much damage is done on the way out, whatever's coming in the next 3 weeks, and then here's your shit sandwich. Figure out what to do. I would say immediately, but it's already started. Of why haven't you done anything yet? How come this is already all broken? Oh my God! Like I said, did you know there's a deficit? So once again, the Democrats will need to swing into action and try to fix everything. But it's fix everything to get it back up to the standard of where it was before the Republicans took over last time. And the same shit happened before. I mean, even like when Obama got there. I mean, fix everything. Oh my God, here's the new office, and here's like the complete destruction of the financial market. So good luck. And then he handled all that, made things amazingly better, handed over a smooth running machine that they instantly take credit for. Ride that bitch right into the ground, milk it dry, loot the chest, hand the shit show off again, and then immediately start the program over again. Oh my God, can you believe they haven't fixed it yet? All they want to do is give money to people. All they want to do is just like help people because we ruined everything. We don't mention that part, but if you pay attention, So that's uphill to begin with, of course. Folks have talked about, what was it that they pushed back when they were going to address immigration, I believe. And that when he was asked about like wiping out student loan debt, he said no. Which then folks immediately went, in a million directions with. One of them being, well, of course he's going to say no because he doesn't want to follow in the whole idea of like these, empirical fiat, executive order, everything, which is kind of the conversation we had before of, do you try to continue the system or do you say, hey, the system has been shown to have changed the last few years and you ride that wave and see how far that gets you. So I don't know. I still lean in that direction of you just let it rip. I mean, we're at the let it rip kind of stage, it seems like, and honestly, again, it has just been shown. How many decades do you need to be on the bad end of a piss deal before you realize that the other guy isn't bargaining in good faith? They're just not. They're just not. They're just freaking not. And so why even pretend? That's the thing. There's like this, we're going to pretend that everything's normal, kids of America. But meanwhile, mommy and daddy got some real problems, Right. But like I said, that was the big question. Like, do you run with this idea of executive order? And people are like, oh no, of course you cannot do that. You've got to restore order.
Well, I really think at this point, I
guess fine.
I think at this point, you do something completely different. I don't think you go with the old way or the new way. I think you do something completely different. I think I hope this administration is going to be thoughtful enough to look at the way things have been going and say we got to do something different, or else we're just going to repeat this 4 years, 8 years, 4 years, 8 years.
I understand. Well, but here's the thing, and this is how I think, honestly, you reach the folks that I believe are unreachable.
Mm-hmm.
And I did mention this before.
Yeah.
Is that you give them money.
Right. Yeah.
It tends to make people happy when you give people money, and I mean give it to them.
Mm-hmm. No strings attached.
Here's some money.
Right.
Have you ever been mad at that?
No, I haven't.
I mean, have you ever said, "Can I have some money?
Can I have some money?"
And then you get some money, and then you're like, "That's pretty great," you know.
Can I have some money?
Yeah, you know, it just so. I understand that Biden is not Bernie Sanders, and I wasn't voting for Bernie Sanders anyway, so that made that easy. And I don't think that. Here's the thing: you courted progressives pretty damn hard to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. So you may want to deliver a little bit,
just a little bit.
You know, and while you may not be able to do the executive order clearing everybody's college debt, you know, maybe you give them some kind of relief. Maybe you work a little bit on making college free. You know, I mean, because that is, you know, like I said, you know, we've moved as an entire country so far to the right that, you know, any talk of anything that's even close to central is viewed as like straight up
socialism,
communism. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. You know, so as much as I would like it if he came in, you know, right off the, you know, first day, you know, and the first stroke of the pen was free healthcare for everybody, and the second stroke of the pen was free education for everybody. I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
And again, and my enthusiasm for EVs, while up there, that ain't on that list. Right. You know, there are other things that make that is part of an overall infrastructure, which is third on that list.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of it.
Right.
You know, but there are a couple other concerns that as a nation for our future seem to be worth addressing more radically than we are now. And I hate for-profit healthcare just about as much as I hate for-profit prisons. So, you know, that we have both of those things in this country is so anti-American that it makes me kind of want to barf. So I don't know. If that makes me a flaming, raging liberal commie, okay, but that's stupid. Mm-hmm. And so I don't listen to people when they tell me that kind of shit, because I mean, I don't listen to people when they tell me a lot of stupid shit.
Right.
That's just reasonable. You know, we're the richest, allegedly, country on earth, and we don't show it. And that's dumb. And when I see things that are just glaringly at odds with what seems to be a rational way of looking at things, a reasonable way of looking at things, because everything in our country, right, it's all about the reasonable man, right? Yep. Every law is based on what the reasonable man would do.
Reasonable doubt,
right? Well, and what I mean, but every law is reasonable man. You know, it's everything. So what would the reasonable person do? And, you know, apparently 70 million are considered reasonable people. Vote for all this insane shit, you know? And that blows my mind, because I just, to me, they're so far detached from any sort of reason and reality that I can relate to. I
Well,
don't know how to identify with that other than by saying, hey, would your life be better if your kids didn't have to pay for college? Because
no,
I'm kind
absolutely.
of assuming a lot of them didn't go to college in the first place, so they don't have the college debt to worry about.
Yeah, no, you brought up a good point about money and the unreachables. Let's talk about that for a second, because I might have a little bit of a different position.
Mm.
I don't know that there's an amount of money that Donald Trump could write a check to give me that would make me agree with him. And I kind of think there's some people that like him that would say the same thing to Joe Biden.
For sure. And while it may not be an actual check you get with Joe's face on it, if it was in the form of education and healthcare were free, and it was just bam like that. I mean, like January 20th, boom, education and healthcare are free. Do you think you'd swing anybody over then?
I think you'd swing a lot of people over, but I still think there's some people who would just be up in arms with how are you going to pay for it on their $10 an hour minimum wage earnings, but they would be concerned on how you're going to pay for it, even though they
I don't think I don't think the $10 an hour people are going to be concerned about it. I think other folks are going to say, "Oh my God, how are you going to pay for it?" And because they know they know that's I'm going to ask them to pay for it.
That's them that are going to pay for it.
Those
Yeah,
are the folks that are worried about it is the folks that have the money to pay for it because they don't want to pay for it. And you're like, well, guess what? If you don't, you get the country we're living in now.
right.
Because I mean, this is not just like suddenly, bam, our country became stupid. This is the result of 30 plus years of sucking resources out of education for the masses. I mean,
I don't know if it's sucking. I think it's more of selective people that get to take part in the educational system, and not everybody.
well, that would be sucking resources out of the system. If you had more resources for the system would grow and more people would be involved in it.
Think about it this way: over the course of 3 generations, if you have 3 generations of families who are unable to participate in higher education, you've got 3 generations of a family that's going to be at or below the poverty line. And if you've got 3 generations of family who are able to take part in higher education, they're going to have more opportunities. Now, granted, there's trade schools and those other things that are I kind of look at.
I would put all those into higher education.
Exactly.
But
if you look at 3 generations of families with the highest level of education being high school and no college, not even some college, they are more likely to be frontline workers as opposed to someone who's in a boss, supervisor, managerial position.
For sure.
And then if you run that over and run that over and run that over, now you've got a grandfather, a father, and a son, or a grandmother, a mother, and a daughter who all didn't have any kind of higher education and never saw anyone older than them with higher education. They're more likely to need free healthcare. They're more likely to need these other services because they haven't had a chance to kind of rise up that ladder to get to the next level. And
so boom. I mean,
yeah.
What better way of saying here's your hand up. This is what America is supposed to be. There's your opportunity. Is it you don't have to worry about how am I going to send my kids to college? And okay, maybe not everybody gets to go be a PhD. That might be a little strong. You know, maybe you start paying for school after the first 2 years of college. You know what I mean? In that first 2 years of college, that's all free, whatever you can figure out to do, whether it's get ready to go into something way more advanced, and then you start incurring whatever bills you got to do to get there.
I like what you're saying.
I don't know where you start putting the cap on it, because in 2 years you could learn a craft, you could learn a trade in 2 years, you could learn a welding school in 2 years. You could easily get up and running in a 2-year window after high school for free. You could learn a craft. You could get a foundation just of critical thinking skills to compete better in the world. And if you wanted to say, okay, that's enough for me, Well, super.
So the new high school diploma is now an associate's degree, is essentially what you're saying.
Yes.
Right. So you graduate high school, you can go and get an associate's degree without incurring any kind of debt. Now, if you want to go and do your junior and senior year, then it follows a traditional pattern. Or if you want to go to grad school or law school,
and even that,
but every kid is entitled.
Yes.
Every kid has the opportunity to go and get an associate degree or go to a trade school, welding, plumbing, construction, whatever. 2 years post high school is on us.
Yep. Tell me how that, oh my God, how can we fucking pay for it?
Here's the deal.
I hate that shit.
No. You pay for it by lower recidivism rates. You pay for it by people not going to prison.
You know what? No, you don't. No, that's not how you pay for it. That's the benefit you get from it. If you have to pay for it by scratching that last aircraft carrier off the budget, then you go ahead and you do that, and you say we've got many aircraft carriers. We're going to scratch this one off, and that $500 billion for that one damn boat. That'll probably do it, or it'll put a big old dent in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that little bit alone, but we can't even manage that. That is what makes me want to, if I could line up everybody like in Congress and Senate and whatnot, and just get like on a Segway and just do like the bitch slap, like all the way down the line. I mean, it's pathetic. I mean, we get nowhere. That to me, that's labeled a progressive agenda is just.
Well, let me ask you this.
That's just painful.
Who? Let me get right into the microphone here. Who does it hurt if we extend the quote unquote high school diploma out to be an associate degree? Who does that hurt?
Well, did you ever see Caddyshack?
Yes.
All right, the world needs ditch diggers too. That's who you're hurting. Is the guy that needs the ditch digger. And honestly, dumb people are easier to control.
This is true.
They just are. When you start thinking more, you start. Dumb people are just easier to control. And that's honestly, if you'll still buy your ticket and eat your meal and pay your bills and not question anything beyond that, I mean, you're the perfect little worker ant. You know? You don't, and it's not like, it's like, oh, this massive disruption is needed, which I can have that chat. But just, I mean, think about it. It's similar to like the voting idea.
Right. Yes.
One side wants you to vote.
Right.
The other side doesn't.
Right.
What does that tell you? I mean, how do you support that? How do you support the idea? I mean, and yes, while I am frustrated at the entire system, but the idea that both sides are the same or both sides are bad, so fuck it. Man, no. I mean, that's just, no. I mean, just the idea, like I say, one side is going out of their way to try to find as many people as they can to vote. Anybody, you want to vote? You vote. I'm not telling you how to vote. Well, I kind of am, but whatever. Go vote. The other side is, I mean, literally sacrificing their grandma, if they can, to a fucking witch doctor if it'll somehow keep somebody else from voting. It's amazing. It's and those folks are cheered, and those are the ones that are wrapped so hard in the damn flag. I mean, really, you make me sick. I mean, the irony constantly of those that wave their flag the highest and the hardest are just the, like they I mean, honestly, they're like the Bible, the people that shout about the Bible, and I'm like, I seem to know more about the Bible than you do, and I'm not even religious. So I don't know.
You bring up Excellent points, my friend. Excellent.
Well, it's just because I bring up a lot of points, and then once in a while,
Yeah,
I
no,
strike gold.
but we live in a democracy, and a democracy is based upon voting.
Well, don't they call it a democratic republic?
A democratic republic. That is, you've been paying attention. That is absolutely what we live in. That's 100% accurate. No matter what anyone says, we live in a democratic republic. In a democratic republic, why would anyone want someone not to vote?
Well, but you know what?
I mean, I know why. I know why. I get your point. But my point is that person is not American.
I agree.
And like you're saying, people are quote unquote wrapped in the flag and they're saying this or that, but they're doing that to their own gain and the gain of the people that they support and they're on their payroll. Because if you're a true American, you want everybody to have a voice in a representative government in order to go out and vote.
But that's what kind of blows my mind is that it's the same thing. Like I understand folks saying I'm on board with the whole Trump plan because I don't want to pay taxes. That is being honest, and I respect that. I think you're horrible, but I respect that. The people that aren't benefiting anything at all from this, I mean, dude in the trailer park, old Jed, with his huge Trump flag that probably costs more than he makes in 2 weeks. I mean, that's amazeballs. What is that guy getting out of Trump? Is he getting a big tax break because he makes over $400,000 a year? I don't think he does.
No.
So I mean, at that point, you're just on board because that guy hates who I hate or whatever. I mean, whatever.
You're the same boogeyman.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's what's so crazy is how on board they are, and you're like, man, you're getting so little out of this deal. I mean, like at least watching a sports team, it's just because your flag is right behind you, but at least in watching a sports team, you get the satisfaction of like, hey, that's my team doing well or doing poorly. And it's sports, so who cares? Whereas this, it's gotten like debased to like a sports fanatic level. Like it's had that appeal to it. And I'm not like bashing on any particular sport. I'm just saying that weird whole like waving a Trump flag. It's not even an American flag. You know what I mean? That's weird. And to that appealing to that whole base of my team, your team. I mean, that's all that is. And how far that goes away or not, when he's not in the biggest position of power, then, that'll be what's interesting because, can he keep running that milk train for 4 more years? I know he could if he's alive that long. I mean, dude, he can snort Adderall and get there. But
I mean you've said before that.
But they would tank their own party, though. I mean, fucking hey, dude, he'll be like.
Sorry, go ahead. You said Americans have the memory of a gnat, I think is what you said.
That's a goldfish, Chuck.
Goldfish. And I think not only do we have the memory of a goldfish, I think we have the attention span of a goldfish. And think about it this way. Downtown in any city, right? My city, your city. You hear the guy on the corner screaming out, "The end is near, Jesus saves," whatever it is, right?
Yep.
You work downtown.
Cardboard Elvis.
Right. You hear the guy, and then after a while, you don't hear him. He fades into the background. You got other things going on. I believe for the first year, maybe even 2 years, Trump is going to be extremely relevant in the background. And then I think at some point, something's going to happen. It might be a national tragedy. It might be a national triumph. Something is going to happen, and everyone is just going to start to tune the guy
out. I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later. I'm hoping
I think the Trump people they're all in right now. They got a good 12 months. I firmly believe that.
But I guess to me the biggest thing is, the Republican Party how long do they stay tied to him? Because as soon as they decide to cut bait, then that's it. But
That bait could be cut right now. That bait could be cut in the next 10 days.
well, that's what I'm saying. Because if they do that, then he's got jack and shit. I mean, he's got the 30% of the nation that will follow him will go down to about 5. You know what I mean? That will be his true core support, which will be all the Nazis that live in their little bunkers, and I'm not going to name anywhere specific, wherever they may be, rural Idaho or not.
Right.
But those folks are always still going to be there.
Absolutely.
But like, say, my neighbor, who was, he only recently took down his Trump flag. It took whatever it was, 3 weeks or so before he finally caved. I just, I mean, when his biggest platform is taken away with Twitter, when he doesn't have, I don't know, Air Force One to cart his ass around everywhere. Right. I mean, man, if Fox turns away and he's doing like shit, like crazy OAA and freaking Alex Jones podcast,
yeah,
then you're like, man, that ship has sailed and you're done.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if he'll continue beating that drum that long, or who knows? Who knows? I mean, that's the thing. He will always generate a ton of interest anytime he even fucking opens his yap.
Right.
But that will soon end when his yap is not the damn president,
Well, he's not going to have that bully pulpit, right? I mean,
yeah, he's not the damn president. He'll just be some asshole in a golf cart,
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I had my kids watching old cartoons. I was mentioning how one of them barfed watching some Chippendale. I don't know what it is about the classics, but they are pretty damn funny. I mean, just kind of watching from the side. A lot of the ones now, there's always like some big team building aspect, or some huge lesson to be learned by not hitting, or how to go poo, whatever. But I mean, Woody Woodpecker, he was just into mischief and goofing about. And it's refreshing because there's no pretense to it. It's just, let's laugh and let's be silly. Old movies don't hold up as well. They're old now. Hey, I'm talking to everybody about old movies. I'll continue while you finish your snack. I was talking about how like old cartoons, like I was saying, how like Chippendale, like my kids barf, like because they laugh so hard watching like Tom and Jerry and Chippendale. And it seems like those cartoons were just fun, just for fun's sakes. Whereas like a lot of cartoons now, there's some big lesson to be learned. There's, feel better about this or don't do that because you'll invade somebody's personal space. Whereas back then it was just, well, especially because they watched like, Warner Brothers on YouTube or whatever, where they show like, here's a couple crows with some bad Mexican accents drinking booze. And you're like, oh, well, I watched that one when I was a kid. I don't know if that one's still appropriate or not.
There's a lot of cartoons nowadays that you might not think are appropriate. Exhibit A, Pepe Le Pew.
Bit of a perv.
I'm surprised he Me Too'd.
Nice.
Right?
Me Too, Pepe Le Pew.
Think about it. Pepe Le Pew.
Oh, dude, no, he's a mad perv. And
he's a creep.
He's super creepy. And he's all hands.
He can't keep his hands to himself. And
by the way, we were just listening to Christmas music and freaking that Baby It's Cold Outside music song, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just date rape. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the lyrics, but
I am, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, that's just straight. have another drink and you won't remember a thing, you know?
Hey, have another drink.
No,
How about this? How about this? Wild Thing. Could Tone Loc release Wild Thing in 2020? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Funky Cole Medina.
Nice.
Could he release?
Nice. What was
the
Spanish Fly? Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. No, I mean,
the wife and I were in the car the other day, and Funky Cole Medina came on, and I was listening to the lyrics.
Wow.
And I was like, he's talking about giving this girl a roofie. Like, that's what he's talking about.
Yes. Did you also know that his acting career includes Ford Fairlane? I'm sure you know that. So.
Oh, dude. Why is the best movie ever made Brain Smasher a love story? Why is that the case?
It's many reasons. I don't know. To me, Ford Fairlane is right there.
Ford Fairlane.
Brain Smasher has kind of a more indie feel.
Yeah.
Whereas Ford Fairlane was like, that was big Hollywood production.
It sure was.
That was legit. That was his big. I watched like
behind the music.
No, well, like a documentary, whatever, on Dice, and just what a crazy scene. I mean, again, just everything right now by perspective looks crazy because you're looking at stadiums filled with like 90,000 people, and you're like, holy cripes, that alone looks wild. But I mean, that's like for comedy, and holy shnikes, and just his whole shtick. I mean, that's all it was just a shtick.
It was a shtick, yeah.
That's all it is. It's just all, and the whole hair but whatever. I mean, it was rolling for a minute, and it was crazy. The momentum that built. I mean, huge, big movie, and then it just went kaput because it was like, now we're tired of your sexist jokes. Now, okay, we're done. And it was like
for a minute, he was the hottest thing out.
Oh, dude, he was so edgy and stuff. And like, no, that's not edgy. That's just fucking raw. I mean, that's just, that's just right there. And it seems, I guess that was the thing. It seemed cool and quaint for a moment. And then they're like, wow, no, this is actually, even for 1990 standards. Yeah, you can't be saying that, And
Ford Fairlane was a good movie though.
Oh, I loved it. Forget about it. I mean, I watched that so many. Before going to work at the record store, like I would always watch a movie, and it was usually probably either Ace Ventura or Ford Fairlane, and that might say a lot, and I don't care. Okay.
Dude, when you turned me on to Brain Smasher, I watched that movie. I've probably seen that movie 100 times.
Dude. I mean,
it had the hook that it was filmed in the home city.
Oh no, for sure. I mean, there's so many Portland landmarks all over the place that are fun to pick out. I mean, just since we're reminiscing, fine. And this is going to be one of those ones where like the kids could like get turned on to this movie, and then they'll film reaction videos of like young people watch old Andrew Dice Clay movies and react. But there's a scene where like he takes Terry Hatcher over to his parents' house because he's like, I gotta get something.
She's like, what are you, a loan shark?
Hey, right? Yeah. And like they go in and like he's like, hey Ma, there's my dad, and like, they're just talking for a second, and then, but then it quickly escalates to like shouting, and he's like, and it's like him and his mom and his dad, and they're just shouting like back and forth, and it continues on, and like Terry Hatcher is just like, holy shit, and then he's like, come on, and he's like still going back and forth, and like before he even leaves, he's like, I love you, Mom. He like, it gives her a hug, and he's like, and he's like, God damn, and he like shuts the door, and she's just standing there like this on the other side of the door, and he turns around and he's like, what?
Yeah, what?
That's a conversation. That's how families talk. Yeah. So I don't know how we got run down Dice Man.
Well, can I just say one more thing about Brain Smasher? The whole ninja thing is just kind of
We're not ninjas.
We're not ninjas. That I mean, if you talk about like politically incorrect, like
What part?
I mean, the whole thing of like, what does he say? Just because I wear the basic black and I talk with the accent does not make it. And it's just so funny because, oh God, it
because the one person that cares about that is Dice. I mean, I know. I mean, it's so, and that's why that movie is so good, and everybody really
so
needs.
good.
I don't know how
everybody should watch Brain Smasher.
How do you even find that movie? Is that like VHS only still?
Let me look on my.
Do you think that's available on Amazon Prime?
Let me see if it's on Netflix. Oh my! Because if it's on Netflix, that's probably going to get watched either tonight or in the morning. I know
Ford Fairlane's got to be out there. I mean, that was a legit Warner Brothers or whatever movie, but Brain Smasher was like by Steve or something. I don't know.
Let's see here. Oh no, Brain Smasher. Oh wait, I put Brian Smasher.
Yeah. Oh, poor Brian. And it's okay to like these movies. I mean, people get so caught up.
Oh my God, there it is.
Yeah, on Netflix.
Hold on.
People are excited. Folks, we're letting you in on something here. This is almost akin to like Jamal Snack. This is almost that level of inside tip.
Here's the deal. Brain Smasher, Ford Fairlane, Ace Ventura, and Beavis and Butthead were things that I watched in rotation all the time.
I can't really, fault you there. That's the thing. I mean, there's just so much to choose from now. I mean, how do kids even like? I think that's the thing. They're all watching the YouTube videos of like just some random kid, like with his own show.
Yeah,
and it's wild because you're like, wow, that's just a kid, and he's got a bigger show than like NBC or some shit,
So Brain Smasher was released in 1993.
Yes.
Ed Malloy.
No, that was his character's name.
That was his character.
Yeah. Did you actually find it to watch like on Netflix?
I'm looking right now. I'm looking at the Wikipedia article
because it feels like that's one that may not really be out there at all. Like you would have to go to a video store in either Austin, Texas, or Portland, Oregon, and and rent a video of it. Which it'd be worth to do.
Okay, hold on. This is riveting TV.
I know. I mean, I feel bad because I got rid of my VHS collection, I think. I'm positive.
Yeah, so did I, dude. I had a legit video collection.
Right?
Let's see here. Oh, no. They removed it from Netflix in 2015.
That's a damn shame.
No.
I cannot believe it did not get enough support to warrant a slot on Netflix, considering all the crap that's on Netflix. I'm just saying.
No, it was on Netflix, but they removed it. Wait,
I know. I mean, how could it not save its space? I mean, that was
Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah, people want to know. I'm glad that you're gonna hook them up. I'm trying to see what else I got going on here that may be worth talking about. I have such an amazing list. It turns out it's really not that amazing.
Oh, wait a minute. It might be available on Amazon Prime. Yes, it's available on Amazon Prime.
See? Good old Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Brain Smasher, a love story.
See, Jeff Bezos is a huge fan. That's why.
He got 4 stars.
Shut up.
I kid you
not. Out of what, like 68 stars or something?
No, look at this. Hold on a second.
Oh, you're going to do a screen share, aren't you?
I am.
I'm excited.
Look at this right here. Do you see that?
Wow.
4 stars.
How is that possible? See, we're not making this shit up, people.
We're not making it up. Wait a minute. Oh, because I'm not logged in.
Unavailable. Oh, yeah.
I'm not logged in. I
got you. Yeah. Wow. 4 stars. What are the reviews? I mean, it's got to be a good review. Come on. Give me a.
I know at least 2 other people who have heard of this really interesting romantic comedy. It was written and directed by Albert Pune, who
That's
has
gonna be a
given
long
us a
review.
whole slew of questionable movies, some of which have been major releases. His biggest films include The Sword and the Sorcerer, Alien from LA, and Cyborg. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. This is set in 1990s Portland. Samantha Crane, Terry Hatcher's supermodel who can't find a decent guy. She received a strange package in the mail shipped from China by her sister.
Now you're gonna get like the whole freaking movie rundown.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what the. So this person, they basically okay.
Woo, what's a woo?
Yeah, we're not ninjas. This is an absolutely retard movie concept that has a perfect title. I called the title perfect because your reaction to the title lets you know that the movie is for you. I saw Brain Smasher, a love story on a rental shelf back in the 90s and couldn't rent it fast enough. The same thing with Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Sometimes movies are exactly what they say on the title.
Yeah.
Good
So that's our movie rating.
Yeah, that's our
recommendation.
That might become a new segment. We might pick a movie and review it
from the catalog.
Yeah,
from the way back.
Dude, there are a lot of movies that I saw in the 90s that that I would legit watch again. I'm gonna go sign into my Amazon and I'm gonna watch Brain Smasher tonight.
It is amazing, though. I mean, let me know how you think it holds up. I assume it may have been a while since you last checked it out, and probably I have noticed some movies kind of don't hold up as much. So
yeah. Probably at least 10 years since I've seen it.
Yeah. Nah. Like I say, I got rid of all my VHS, and so there's just certain ones that are just not in rotation anymore. I may need to try to fix that. Brain Smasher. So do it buy or sell, dude. You said you had something going on there. What's up?
All right, buy or sell. Let me get my list. Well, do you want to do buy or sell, or do you want to talk about the time I almost got arrested by the FBI?
Oh, you've been leading up to this for like ever. Do that.
All right. So let's unpack this for a while. Mm-hmm. So you know how you were talking about VHS movies. You know how back in the day they had that like warning in the beginning of the movie that like no unauthorized blah 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 blah
piracy warnings, like don't copy our shit.
Apparently, that's a real thing.
They took that shit seriously.
Well, okay. So
were you making bootlegs, Jamal?
Sure.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Okay. So most people know 25, God, I don't know how long it was, 30 years ago we were in high school. I don't know. 20 something years ago.
It's the other number, dude.
Is it 30?
Yeah. Go ahead though.
Right, anyways. So I went to a Catholic school in Portland, Oregon. I'm very proud of that. I had a buddy of mine who his family owned a rental store, movie store, like a local. It wasn't a Blockbuster, but it was like a local corner store. Mm-hmm. And a couple buddies of mine, we figured out that we could get some movies from my buddy's store and dub them and sell them. Well, actually, we started renting them. But people wouldn't return them, and I'd have to go out and go get them back.
Oh, wow.
So we started movies from his store, and we would dub them, and then we'd sell them, which is all fine and dandy. Mm-hmm. But the problem was the movies we were selling were, remember you'd go into your local movie store, not the Blockbuster or the Hollywood Video. And for the kids out there watching this, there used to be a thing called Blockbuster and Hollywood Video where you would go and rent a movie, physically rent it off the shelf and go home and play it. And then you'd have to return it. And they would charge you if you didn't rewind it. Remember that?
Before that, though, there was the video stores that you would rent the damn VCR from in the suitcase. I don't know if you ever did that.
Yes, I remember the Betamax.
Well, I don't think it was Betamax. It was just a VCR. But it was like the top loader. But I remember like because we didn't have one. And so we rented. That was movie night, was
right.
Going to the video store, renting a VCR, and renting movies. So it was like, you got to get home, set up the VCR, and then watch your movie.
Right.
It was a bit more of a whole thing.
So,
You're dying.
I'm dying. I'll be all right.
Die.
So the movies that we were dubbing. So remember going into your local video store.
Oh, it hurts just to watch. And you know what the best about that is, because you try to power through it and you try to keep talking, but it's like, no, I got to do it, bitch. And then it's sharp and it's nasty.
Oh.
Go with some more drink. I mean, you need it.
Woo.
Yeah, no, you need that.
Oh man. There's almost no coming back from that.
Nah, it's a dagger.
All right. So remember, you'd go to your local video store, and there would be that curtain
to the pornography section,
and you had to be like 18 to go behind the curtain.
I know, and like you're always a kid, and you'd see like the people going back. Like I don't know, like when I was like whatever 8 or 9, and you'd be in the video store, and you always see like the dudes going back there, and you kind of give them that look, and they try not to, Anyway,
so in high school, we were dubbing behind the curtain movies, and then selling
behind the curtain movies. Nice.
Yeah. And then we were. Yeah, you see where this is going, right?
Well.
And we started renting them out to people, but they wouldn't return them. So,
by the way, that you wanted those back because gross. I mean, come on, that's not good.
I mean, that was our inventory.
I know, and yuck. But go ahead. So you would have to go be the enforcer to get your spank videos back.
And that got kind of awkward, and we figured we were going to get caught because somebody would be like, no, I'm not going to return it, but I have to rough them up.
I'm beating him up over the porno vid that he didn't return on our rental service, sir.
So we just started selling them.
That's a smarter move. Yeah, it's a smarter move. Because back then, by the way, let's recall, like a pornography video was like $30-$40 at least. Yeah. I mean,
and I think we were selling them for $5, maybe 10.
Wow, you're probably just getting like, a lot of traffic from even folks outside the school.
Too much traffic. To the point where there were some days I'd come to school with the second backpack.
Good night. I like the entrepreneurial spirit, of course. If you were on Shark Tank, I think they would say, if we just adjust your product, that you'd have a great investment. It's just not a good time right now because it's porn and it's illegal. And you're bootlegging videos. I know. I'm going to fill in the blanks because you're still dying.
Yeah. So we made so much freaking money. And we were cutting my buddy in, because he could have gotten in big trouble by letting us.
Oh, dude, take dad's inventory. I mean, come on.
So we had one of those 2-level where you'd put the VCR tape in one, you'd put the blank one in the other one, and then we'd go to school, and I had the backpack, and get the money.
Where you had to kind of pop out the tab on the tape so that you could do the recording.
Yeah, and then
or something.
I remember
sorry,
my buddy and then my dad too. I'd have him take us to Costco to buy big things.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never asked what we were doing. I was like, hey, I need to go to, can you take me to
Costco? Oh, shit.
So we would go and buy just tons of those things and make copies and then go to school and we'd sell them. and it was a pretty lucrative business. Totally illegal. And the fact that we were doing it at a Catholic school,
Yeah, for sure. So then the FBI came.
Well, so then some kid, some spineless kid got caught with the tape at the house. And of course, snitched us.
Got caught by like his parents?
Yes. His parents caught him. And he snitched us out. And so then we got confronted about all this, and then couple other things came out. So, okay, full disclosure. So during that time, I was also a hall monitor at the school,
which might have been a convenient opportunity to distribute bootleg pornography films. But go on.
It gave me access to it was beautiful because I don't know if you guys had it at your school where the teachers would fill out the Scantron of like who was in class, and then one person would come around to the class and pick up all the Scantrons and go.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
That was me.
Nice.
I was the guy going around getting the Scantrons.
Oh, perfect.
So we also, God, I can't believe I'm telling this story on the internet. Jesus. I should just stop. I'm too far in now. Okay. We also, let's say you wanted to miss a period.
I was going to say, was there any financial gain from your opportunity of having the attendance cards of every child in that entire building? And did you also perhaps leverage that at any time for, say, favors or for, say, a reconciliation of a debt?
So let's say you wanted to miss fifth or sixth period.
You were the man to call.
I had a second locker where people could slip things into it.
Oh my God.
1s or 5s. And if you wanted to miss sixth period and not get your parents notified that you missed sixth period, I may or may not have known somebody who could erase it and run it, and it was like you were in class.
Oh my God.
So all this gets found out all at once. And it wasn't pretty. It was not pretty at all. And
well, see, you were just a kid, you were a juvenile that, made some great business mistakes.
Yeah.
Namely getting caught.
So can't believe I'm saying this. So there was like 4 or 5 of us that were doing this.
Would you like to share their names while you're at it?
No,
okay. I just want to know who they are. I'm sure how far down. Go ahead.
And a couple of us were seniors, and we were threatened that we weren't going to be able to graduate, and that the FBI could get involved. So we paid a guy who was a junior to take the fall.
Yeah.
So we paid him. He took the fall. He ended up becoming like one of the most popular kids in school because he was seen as the mastermind behind this whole thing.
Oh my God.
And I think he got suspended. But we paid the dude like a significant chunk of money to take the fall. So the seniors that were doing it, we could graduate.
So in the end, after all of your efforts, after all of your expenditures for inventory and equipment and the paying of other employees,
yes,
as well as any other expenses, how'd you make out?
Remember my Geo tracker?
Yeah, I do.
I paid for it with that.
Well, that's pretty good then.
I got a brand new car.
Wow, dude.
I never had a car payment. I paid for it.
Nah, that's crime pays.
Yeah, that Geo tracker. That's how I paid for my Geo tracker.
Well, congrats.
The statute of limitations is so over on that now. So
and that's and that let's reflect. That's the important part.
Yes. Yeah. So after all that, I got a brand new car. But back then, a brand new car, I think the car was like $4,000 or something like that. Back then.
Man, bullshit. Hold on. Let me go ahead and look.
Look and see. It was a 1991 Geo Tracker.
I remember that thing.
Yes, man. That thing was legendary.
MSRP, baby. You had the convertible too.
I did.
Was it 2-wheel drive?
Yeah, it was 2-wheel drive.
$9,000.
Wow. $9,000 now or then?
It just says original MSRP. So yeah, you must have been just slinging them things.
Man, it was yeah. So
nah, that is quite the entrepreneurial spirit.
The Geo Tracker, that was the ride, man. We drove that thing down to California.
Dude, you drove that thing to the moon.
Yeah, man, that thing was awesome. Love the Geo Tracker. Yeah. So that's how I got the Geo Tracker.
Is that even a car company anymore? The Geo? I don't think it was
bought out by Chevy.
Got you. Okay.
It was a subsidiary of Chevy.
Well,
you want to do some buy or sell?
Well, I was reflecting on your story for a moment. There was no FBI involvement. You got somebody else to take the fall.
Yeah, no. So we were threatened. So they wanted to know everything, and there was like,
who was they? Was it the cops or was it just a school admin?
So the kid who got caught with the tape in his room, his dad was a cop, and
of course,
his dad was a cop, and and
then he talked a lot of shit.
He talked. And, we probably told people too much stuff that we didn't need to tell them back in the day.
No way.
Just because we were kids,
Yeah, for sure. Rolling big.
So, yeah, his dad was a cop and wanted to know everything. And, they threatened us. And I was kind of the front man to the whole thing. Which probably wasn't the smartest to be the front man, but
So which one of your daughters do you think has your entrepreneurial spirit?
My 8-year-old, for sure. Because she's a Girl Scout, and she said this to me last year, Dad, if the boxers are $4, why don't we sell them for $5 and we keep the extra $1? And I looked at her. And I knew it was wrong, and I just hugged her.
Oh.
Right.
So now, is that a nature or a nurture thing? Did you teach her to be such a business acute young person, or do you think
my daughters
naturally ingrained in her?
My older daughter, the 11-year-old, for 2 years in a row was the Girl Scout salesperson of the year. For 2 years. Yeah, she sold the most cookies.
So it just runs with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my dad could sell anything, so could my brother. So. But yeah, so we got.
Just while you're dying there, I'm just picturing your old man. So, because I never picture your old man selling anything. Just more, just like telling you this is what's going to happen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we got dimed out, and we got called.
Nice.
We got called into the office, and I knew enough back then to deny everything. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
See, that's why you were the leader of the group.
I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know. He was like, we're going to call the FBI. And I remember saying, well, I'm going to call my dad's lawyer.
Nice.
And then they kind of backed down off of
shut his bitch ass up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was call my dad's lawyer. My dad he had a hell of a lawyer back in the day. Anyways, we don't want to get into all that, but he had a hell of a lawyer.
No, hey, no, that's cool, man. I mean, my old man did not have a lawyer, so I didn't have that to throw around. I kind of wish I did. My old man's lawyer will be up your ass.
So yeah, I was.
But then again, I was not selling bootleg shit in high school that the feds might be concerned about. So, you know.
And they were like, "Well, you know something," and I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Everybody's saying that they were giving you money for this and they were giving you money for that, and I'm like, "I don't have any money on me. I don't know what you're talking about." So then my buddy, who we kind of were doing this together, and there were some other people that were involved in it. We were like, "We are about to go to jail. Like, we are in some big time trouble." And it wasn't my idea. It was another guy in our group's idea to offer this other guy who was kind of ancillarily involved in it, to offer him some money for him to come up and say he was a ringleader and say he did it all. And
it feels like it should be like an after school special, or, you know, maybe like a Netflix special or something. I mean, like, I tell you what, if you see this video come out like next year and you recognize the plot, then, you know, you go, hey, somebody was listening to our podcast and is cashing in.
Yeah. So we offered the dude some money, and he took it, and he went in and said, "Hey, you guys got the wrong guys. You know, I was doing this. They were kind of helping me, but they weren't really involved. It was all me. This is how I did it, blah, 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 blah." And he got suspended. He didn't get arrested, but like, he became like the man. Like, never had a girlfriend before, had a couple girlfriends after that. Like, he was the man.
See, you're just making heroes and friends along the way.
Yeah, and the other people involved, we just all kicked down and said, "Here," stacked all the money up. And there was, you know, I went to a Catholic school, so there was some people that I went to school with who lived in these humongous houses, and you know, family had money. And one of the kids that, you know, I ran with, you know, he had access to a lot of money, so it wasn't any different that all this other money was there. And we just all kind of chopped it up and said, "Here you go," paid the guy off, and he took the rap, and we were good to go.
Well, I would.
And those nuns never believed me. They knew I was involved. They couldn't prove it, but
you know, that's a line I haven't ever probably uttered in my lifetime. Those nuns never believed me.
Yeah,
but you know,
but yeah, man. So I that's how I almost, that was their big threat. We are not going to let you graduate. We are not going to let you walk across.
That's a good threat. I mean, that and the whole FBI thing. I mean, that's, you know, that would be enough to get my dumb 17-year-old ass shaken. So.
I was a little more worried about not walking across the stage than I was about the FBI. Because when you're 17, the FBI is just 3 letters. They're basically the cops. You don't realize. Think about it. At 17, did you realize the kind of trouble?
I guess. I don't know, man. I'd have been, like I said, man, I'd have been fucking.
I was more worried about. I was more worried about not graduating.
See, that's the thing, you know.
Well, here's the deal. Remember,
no, this is what's so great about you, because you see, you know, and this is what folks eventually learn, is that, you know, you have this veneer. I don't want to say it's a veneer because that implies like it's a thin shell. So you remember that stuff like the chocolate you'd squirt like on top of ice cream, and then it would, so kind of like that, a thin shell. And then folks go, "Oh, you actually do all sorts of weird shit." Whereas, and this has always been the case, everybody, even since long ago at the record store, is that everybody would look at me and go, "Oh, you are just some dirty, grungy looking fellow that obviously likes rock and roll. Fine. You must be kept at arm's length because either you smell or you are up to no good." And I'm like, "Fuck, man, I'm just here, just chilling. I'm not doing nothing, but okay." And meanwhile, everybody would be like, "Oh, it's Jamal. He wouldn't do anything wrong. It's Jamal." And it's just, you know, it's something that's obviously gone even to high school. I bet even in your earlier years, I bet even the kids in your neighborhood would probably be like, fucking Jamal got in so much shit. And then like the kid standing over there was the one that got nailed for it. He's like, what the hell? It was Jamal.
That may or may not be true.
I know for a fact it is, and I wasn't even there. I didn't even know you for 15 years after that, but whatever. I'm good at guessing stuff. So tell me your buy or sell. We're rounding third and heading right for the
okay. So buy or sell.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Number one, buy or sell. Is Die Hard the best Christmas movie of all time? Buy or sell?
How hilarious, dude. I mean, how fucking goddamn are we on the wavelength? It's ridiculous. And folks, this has been the case a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, and you just saw, I mean, unless you don't believe Jamal, and why wouldn't you believe Jamal? He had that note, and he said it. As soon as I said Die Hard earlier, you said, I'm a fucking A.
Yeah.
That's just wild stuff.
Yep.
So anyway, why is Die Hard the best movie ever?
No. Is Die Hard the best Christmas movie of all time?
Oh, best Christmas movie. So you must be talking about Die Hard 2.
No, it's 1, right? 1. The Towers in Chicago.
Oh, well, you're right.
But remember, that was Christmas time.
Die Hard 2 is also... Was it also Christmas? Because you're totes right. Because the ho ho ho, I have a machine gun.
Yeah,
you're totes right. I'm thinking about the second one too.
I think the second one was at Christmas time also.
I just remember snow, and then I remember like the naked dude that was like working out.
Yeah,
psycho and shit. Anyway, to the first one, Christmas movie, Hans. Yeah, Harry Potter guy. Why is that the best Christmas movie ever? Fuck, man. I mean, you got just enough Christmas flavor, but not enough that you're like, God, it's a Christmas movie.
Right.
So boom, right there.
So the other night, Christmas Eve, family, we were sitting down to watch a Christmas movie. And my wife says, all right, pick a Christmas movie. So I turn on the TV and I turn on demand. And she goes, not Die Hard.
Wow. She saw you coming.
Not Die Hard. I'm like, you're talking about the greatest Christmas movie ever. She's like, any movie but Die Hard.
What? So now why is this such a Christmas movie for you? Why does that strike your Christmas movie chord so hard?
It's just a great flick, man. I mean, think about like In the Element, in the time, right? 90, whatever year that was, it came out.
Actually, I believe that was like 89 or something.
Was it 89? So think about the special effects at the time. Now you watch it, it looks kind of hokey when he's jumping off the building and all that stuff. But at the time,
I still think it looks kind of good because they weren't relying on any kind of CGI. They were doing all those stunts, which,
true.
That to me holds up, in a way. It still looks, yes, I get you. It looks old. I get you.
It looks old, but
it does.
But at the same time, at the time it was filmed, it was so, I hate to use the word revolutionary, but it was new.
No, but it was pretty like, whoa, it was pretty awesome. I mean, it was over the top.
And if you're a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid at the time, and that comes out at Christmas and it's kind of a Christmas movie, it's kind of like the cool Christmas movie. And then like Bruce Willis ends up being a badass in every movie he's in. And then you get, sometimes movie number one doesn't become your favorite until the third movie comes out. And then you go back and you rewatch the number one movie and you're like, man, you know what I mean?
For sure. And you might just be like, well, you want to realize why you liked it in the first place. You go back to the first one, whatever that was. You go, oh,
yeah, exactly.
That's why it was so good. But and as far as awesome Christmas movies, I mean, that's such a whole category of its own. I mean, we just watched Elf again the other day.
So did we. That's what we watched on Christmas Eve.
God dang. And I mean, there's so many good ones. But I mean, Christmas Story, I mean, shoot your eye out.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I still will go to a store and I'll see that leg with the lampshade and it just crack.
That's the best. So I mean, yeah, but Die Hard. I mean, I love that movie. The Hans Gruber. No, it's a great movie. It makes me want to watch it right now. So
Yep.
awesome. Next.
All right. So buy or sell. Will we all get a check for $2,000?
Shit. Ah. Maybe. I mean, fine. If I have to make a pick, no.
No. Okay. And then my last buy or sell is along the Texas Mexico border. There's this wall that was talked about for like 2 years and then just kind of dropped. Does that border wall ever get finished?
No, of course not.
Doesn't get finished. All right.
No, of course not.
Buy or sell
that thing wouldn't have got finished in 100 years of a dump presidency. I mean, that was just a funnel of money to, folks' pockets that.
Yeah, people got paid on that. And what did they built like 37 miles or something like that? 40 miles?
That blew down in the wind. I mean,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, and the amount of money I believe it's like two dudes in like Montana, like Whitefish, Montana is like the home of like this company that I can't remember the name of, but it's like just two dudes and they have like just these ridiculous contracts for the wall that of course they haven't, I mean,
yeah.
So, yeah, a nice contract, I guess. Good gig. No,
have I told the story about how I don't think I've told this story. Maybe I shouldn't tell this story. Some of these stories I shouldn't tell. When I had to ride in the trunk of a car driving through Idaho, have I talked about that? Or should we let's talk about that next week?
You just come up with the best teasers.
Let's talk about that next week about how I had to ride in the trunk of a car driving through the Aryan Nation's compound.
I was wondering if that was going to be the reason, but I didn't want to be like, oh, it's Idaho, so of course it's because you're a black guy and they got to hide the black guy. But that's what it was, wasn't it?
We'll talk about that next week. What else you got, my friend?
Hope for the future.
Hope for the future. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's when next we chat, it will be the next year.
Yeah, it sure will be, won't it? It'll be.
That's exciting. I love everybody's, I just want to brace folks just in case. Sit down for this. It may not magically all be better on 2021. Just saying. I know there's a lot of talk about how terrible 2020 has been. Okay, fine. Brace yourselves. It may not all just change, right off the bat. So no, but I mean, there's lots of positive out there. I mean, all the vaccine stuff. I mean, however long it takes to get it all rolled out, and then how hopefully effective that'll be.
They said 1 million people have gotten the vaccine so far.
Only 1 million?
1 million.
I mean, you gotta say that's kind of fucking pathetic, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. He's got to navigate those waters carefully and get the vaccine out to as many people as possible.
I saw like a press conference like a week or 10 days ago, and it was like an Army general giving a press conference about the vaccine rollout. And and it seemed like, and it was like the day that it got announced, right? And I just kept thinking, why are we hearing from the Army? Why wouldn't we be hearing from, say, the commander of all of the armies? But nope, we're gonna hear from the Army general about how this is all rolling out and that it's really, really great. Cool. I mean, I instantly felt more reassured by this random general I've never heard of before.
Right. And maybe that was the reason. Maybe
just because he talked like a freaking adult,
right. Maybe the powers that be behind the scenes decided this was too important to let somebody who's not an adult say it, even though they are the person who should be saying it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep state. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you. Let me speak directly into the microphone with my.
No, you're in it, baby.
You like that? Thank you to all the new viewers. Please tell a friend, like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications. We picked up, like I said, a handful of new people over the last week, and some people hit me up and said they were looking forward to watching this podcast. So thank you for watching all the way through. Please share. Just do me a favor. Go in and type a little note, good, bad, or indifferent. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's something that you're aching to hear about, you're aching to hear us talk about. Type a comment in there. But as our following grows, we want to get a little more interactive with everybody and hear you,
How about leave your review of Brain Smasher, A Love Story?
Dude, go to Amazon and watch Brain Smasher. Watch Ford Fairlane. Ace Ventura.
Magic.
Yeah.
See what we're talking about.
Yeah. Which Ace Ventura was your favorite, one or two?
Come on.
It's one, right? Okay.
Come on. I mean, although the out of the anus of the freaking rhino.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh my God. That alone, Oscar. I mean,
but New England clam chowder.
Yeah, but all the rest of it, the first one by a mile. And I even watched some of that the other day with my kiddo, and
well, it's funny. You like ESPN still drops references to Laces Out.
Oh Jesus!
We're talking 30 years later, and they're still
Laces Out, Dan.
They're still saying Laces Out on ESPN, so I don't know. Classic movie. But anyways, to our new people who recently subscribed to the channel, our channel's growing. We appreciate you being in from the ground floor. When we've got 10 million subscribers, you can say you were one of the first couple.
Dude, I was thinking when we get to 50 subscribers or 100.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't give a fuck. I'm making my own YouTube plaque. And I'm gonna put it back there on the wall.
Nice.
Right there, everybody.
Yeah.
It might be cardboard.
Right.
But it's gonna be a plaque.
Well, here's what we need. We need help. We need to get to 1,000 followers. Because once we get to 1,000 followers, we get our own customized URL.
Oh,
so it would be youtube.com/Jamal and Joe show. Once you get to 1,000.
Well, that's pretty significant. So,
yeah.
All right.
Well, it'll make it a lot easier to share. So that's what we need to do is we need to get to 1,000 followers. And once you get that magic number, that's when we can get our customizable URL.
And then, God dang, the world is just right there at the doorstep.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
yep. I don't know.
As much as you hate Facebook, Facebook did bring us some new followers.
Nah, and that's great. So thanks for that. And no, I can't stand Facebook. I just can't.
I was gonna say you always said something nice about Facebook.
No, I didn't. I wasn't even close. I was just trying not to offend people because they're on Facebook. So another platform must be out there, and maybe that will be the new Facebook, and Facebook can die a horrible death like it needs to. But in the meantime, thanks Facebook for all of your algorithms and directing people here. And honestly, thanks for going out there and promoting it into the world. There's a lot of world I don't visit. I also don't visit Nebraska, so whatever. How
did Nebraska just get carpet bombed there?
Well, it's okay.
Hey, if we have any followers in Nebraska, defend your state. I dare you, defend your state.
And it cannot be football related.
No. Well, the Cornhuskers suck. They do. The Cornhuskers suck. They have for years.
Then I guess they Nebraska's got to be looking pretty shitty then. That's tough. I mean, because I was like, when that's like all you got going for you in your area is like your football team, and then that goes shit.
Yeah.
Woof. I mean, look at Eugene. Oh, sorry, college football joke. I have no idea. I have no idea how the Ducks did. They might have won everything for all I know.
Well, they won the Pac. They won the Pac-12. They're going to the Fiesta Bowl.
Well, then there you go. I have no idea. I still, we can talk about how much college football can just eat a big fat dick whenever you like. Pay the players. I'll leave it at that. That's as simply as that's all I care about. I love college football. If you would pay your participants and not use, unpaid labor, but that's just me. I think folks should be compensated for their work.
Yep.
And those guys aren't. Hot take.
I
know. So, but it's okay. I like I said, I haven't enjoyed any sports this year. I just they seem weird.
It is weird, but the beloved team, my almighty beloved team, did win.
What?
The Portland Trailblazers.
Are they play? Are they already back up and running again?
Yeah, they played tonight. They beat Houston by 2 points tonight. So, if you saw my eyes going away from the screen every now and then, I was checking out the score. So,
see, now I feel like because I'm not even following that, and that does hurt a little bit. That does hurt a little bit. I mean,
so the beloved.
But now, so are they all like doing the bubble again and the whole thing?
They are not doing the bubble, so they're playing in empty arenas.
Okay.
Yeah, empty. All the sports right now are doing empty arenas. The NBA hasn't said if they're going to do a bubble for the playoffs or not, but right now they're just playing in empty arenas. And tonight's game was in the good old Rose Garden, and the Blazers won by.
Well, I may have to give a shit again,
which makes me happy.
No, I may have to care again. I want to. It just seems weird in the Rona world to care about.
Yeah, it does.
But I don't know. It's kind of like I get the hey, it's a distraction. So yay. And then I'm like, it's such a weird thing to be caring about sports when the whole world seems to be falling apart.
I agree.
So I don't know.
I don't know. I follow a lot of sports. I'm a Ducks fan, obviously. Where's my Duck stuff?
There you go. Yeah.
Panthers fan, obviously. But my number one team will always, 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 always be the Portland Trailblazers. Always, no matter what.
Well, I know I usually follow it so close. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. I may have to try to. I still remember like when we went to the grand opening of the Rose Garden.
Dude, that was awesome.
And we stood standing room only at the very, very top of that damn arena.
Yeah.
Where there were no seats and it was standing.
Yeah.
On the terrace.
Yeah, I remember that.
They kind of went around the arena there. I mean, it was like the emergency exit or something. I don't know what it was.
Dude, we were in the locker room.
So high up there.
We were in the locker room everywhere that night. That was so awesome.
That was wild. Anyway, all right then.
All right, man. Have a good night. I will see you next year.
That's right. And Happy New Year in the meantime to you and everybody else.
Yes. Like, share, subscribe, please. Get us to 1,000 viewers. Hey, why don't we do something cool? Like when we hit a milestone, we like bring somebody on for a segment, somebody who's a frequent commenter.
But that might be interesting. Maybe
like a 5-minute segment, like the most,
or 10 seconds, something,
or we can have them record a little message that we can play. Somebody who's a frequent commenter to us, something along those lines.
Possibly. Like I said, all I give a shit about is I'm going to have my little cardboard plaque right there.
Yes.
It's going to be sweet. And I can update that plaque from like 50 subscribers to like 100, whatever. It's all good. Yeah. But no, it's, like I say, this year coming to an end. And the one thing, I mean, while it was, I would say this in summation of this year. Yes, it was a tough year. No one could doubt that. At the same time, there's positives. I mean, everybody had to have something positive in this entire year. And so as hard as it is, personally speaking, to focus on the positive sometimes, it is necessary. It is important. And here's to an even better next year that is just around the corner. So in the meantime, everybody take care and have a happy new year. And appreciate you.
See ya.
Late.
Bye.